All right, Vicky. So it's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute. What?
Almost 2.
3,
Yeah.
4 years?
I was about to say 2. Was it 3?
Was it 2? Well, I've been gone I was in Sacramento for what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last time that I saw you, I'm sure we ran into each other at some events, but I think like actually talking
Yeah.
was I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago.
Man. And then let's see. You've been back in Texas about how long?
2 months now.
It's 2 months.
2 months.
And I didn't get to tell you this because I haven't seen you in person, but congratulations on getting married. And
Thank you.
Yes.
Listen, everybody always said marriage is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how hard could it be? And being married for 7 months now, thank God we haven't, hit any crazy
Right.
bumps in the road and things like that. But
It's still a 7-year
it's-
itch, but
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
7 months.
7 months.
7 months being married.
Yeah.
But it's crazy being married. It's crazy having, your partner and your husband. It's like, oh, it's my boyfriend, fiance, husband.
Yeah, those titles, huh?
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy. Too many titles. I'm like, that's my man.
Now,
That's my man.
I have a question because, see, you were a frequent guest on the podcast I was
Yeah.
previously.
Yep.
You are one of our favorite guests.
That's right. Thank you.
Oh, she is the favorite
Thank
guest.
you.
Yeah. So, I know that you had left to pursue your career
I
because
did.
you were in radio.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I did want to ask you because you maintained this long distance relationship for like how long was it? 2-3 years?
It was 2 years.
How the fuck do you do that?
Listen, it was crazy. So when I got the opportunity to move to Sacramento and get like my dream job and getting a full-time job working in the industry, it was, it took a lot of prayer, a lot of work, and it just didn't happen overnight. It was, 7 years in the making.
Right.
And I did not want to leave Dallas. I'm like, I want to make it here. I want to, represent for my city, blah, blah, blah. And it just didn't happen. It did not happen. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. The opportunity never happened. So when this opportunity happened, I told Manny, my
That's her
husband.
husband.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my husband. Sorry. Manny's my husband. I'm like, hey, I got this opportunity in Sacramento. It's a great opportunity. It's, like the #1 station over there. I'm getting, my middays gig. That's where I want to be. And, it's going to grow into something bigger and better. I'm going to
Right.
learn, and grow in the industry. Because I was still, I consider myself like a baby and a newbie in the radio industry. And it's tough. It's tough. First, I'm a woman and I'm Latina. That's already 2 things against me.
Right.
It's a man's world. Let's be real. So he was
Hell
like,
yeah.
he was like, you know what, baby, you go ahead and do you. If this is, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to tell you no, because I know how hard you've worked to get to this point.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So
Man, what's up,
took
Manny?
the-
Shout
yeah,
out,
that's-
Manny.
see,
That's
that's
a
why I
real
married
man.
him. That's
a
why I
real
married
man.
him.
Yeah, you got a real one.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely a real one. So, right before we signed the contract, he proposed to me on his birthday. And it was funny because I threw him the surprise party, and I had no idea that he knew about the party and that everybody.
So it was a surprise on a
It
surprise.
was a surprise on a surprise, and everybody came dressed up, and I just got off of work and I was decorating. And I was just like, man, why is everybody like so dressed up? Like, it's a birthday party, but like, damn, y'all brought out y'all Sunday's best.
Everybody's in tuxes.
You know what I mean? So
You're getting married right there.
Yeah. So he proposed to me.
Yeah.
And of course I said yes. And I'm like, wow, so we're basically going to be engaged long distance. How are we going to make this work?
Mhm.
And we're both very spiritual. God is right in our relationship. So God and our communication, trust, and love is how we got through this long distance relationship. And of course, hella fucking traveling. Like
Right.
we were going, it was either him coming to see me once a month or me coming here once a month to keep things alive. And it was tough. It was really tough, but it was even worse because I'm very open about my life. I try to connect with people, through, your speakers of your radio or social media. So I was sharing a lot of what was going on in my life and being engaged and, moving across, the freaking US, to chase after my dreams and to land this, amazing opportunity. And people were just like, I don't want to say wishing the worst on me, but like, how are you going to make it work? What if he cheats on you? What if you cheat on him? What if
Right.
you catch him, on the low on social media? It's just people, just all sorts of,
Being
just,
messy
yeah,
and-
just
yeah.
being messy. And I was starting to just like, I don't want to say doubt things, but I'm just like, damn, like this, our relationship has never been long distance. We've never been separated from each other for, then a few maybe days or a weekend or something if we're going like on family trips and, either of us don't,
Right.
participate or whatever. So, it was really tough. It was really tough in the very beginning and then our different time zones, our schedules
Yes.
are complete opposite, and we were having to get used to like FaceTime and texting and having to call each other before we go to sleep, before the
Email.
morning, whatever.
Yeah.
We were doing every type of way, anything to make it work. And
Right.
then on top of that, I was planning a wedding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just seemed very difficult.
It was very difficult. It was very, very, very difficult. And there was some days where I was just like, okay, I cannot wedding plan while I'm at work. I have to wedding plan after work or get up earlier and wedding plan. It was a lot of work. It was a
Hmm.
lot of work. I did end up hiring a wedding planner. So shout out to Weddings by Yuri. She helped out a lot. Of course, my mom helped out a lot. My mother-in-law helped out a lot. My sisters, and he stepped it up. I was just like, whoa. He had a little binder with like different things in it, a
Oh,
little notebook taking notes and stuff, and keeping his little contact with business cards and just reaching out to people and just trying
nice.
to do a lot of the work for me because it was hard. And then we had to change our venue last minute. It was a lot of things that went into this preparation for our wedding day, but our wedding day was perfect. It was
Right.
absolutely perfect. And I told him, I'm just like, man, you remember all those times people would talk shit and say that we wouldn't make it and long distance relationships don't work, and just putting so much negativity on our relationship, and it's people we don't even know. Like, it's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. You don't even have a picture on your profile. Like, who are you to be talking shit?
Adrian.
Hey, we thought it was
You
Adrian.
don't have a picture on his profile. You feel so
My
attacked.
bad. My bad. It's just kind of weird.
But
So
you feel because y'all went through that when you finally moved back, there's a strength in y'all's relationship, or it's a
oh,
lot stronger because if
absolutely.
you can go or
Yeah.
persevere through something like that,
Oh, of course. But at the same time, too, we were together for many years before
yeah,
we got married. We were both really focused on our careers, focused on our work, and trying to build our foundation of our relationship before we took it to the next level.
yeah,
And it was, it was kind of like, okay, so are we going to get married? You're trying to open up your
what
barbershop. I'm
what
trying to
are
make,
we?
yeah, I'm trying to make it in radio, and everything just fell into place like it was supposed to fall into place.
Right.
And he's my number one supporter, and I'm his number one supporter. So once he opened up the Parlor Barbershop right here in Oak Cliff off of Jefferson Avenue, what's
Plug.
up?
Shameless plug.
you know, um,
I get my
it
haircut there too.
was,
It's all
yeah,
good.
your family, you're part of the Parlor family. So he definitely, went 0 to 100 real fast. And, same thing in my career. And it was kind of like, okay, so what's next for the both of us?
Right.
And that's when he just bought me a really beautiful ring and just, was like, okay, he literally said, you've been my princess for all these years, and now it's time for you to be my queen. And I was like, oh shit.
God damn.
What?
Who's his ghostwriter,
Yeah,
man?
for real. He
Give
did
him
the
a
damn
record deal
thing.
now.
Oh yeah, but that's Bay right there. Like that. There were so many times where I just wanted to quit.
Right.
And, because the industry is rough. It's so rough. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, see, your story reminds me so much of a lot of stories because a lot of people don't realize how much sacrifice comes into going for
so
your
much.
dreams. You can lose. You could have lost that relationship.
And that was gonna lead me to my next point was, I didn't want to choose my job over love or over him or over our relationship, because I want it all.
Right.
I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the time, I'm putting in the sacrifice to have it all, to have a great job, to have an amazing career, and have a man to go home to.
Yeah.
That's there fully to support me. And it was rough because there was a time where I was just like, man, like I don't want to have to choose. I do not want to have to choose. We have to figure out how to make this work, because it was very intimidating. You have so many different people in your ear telling you and trying to give you advice, but trying to be real at the same time. So it's truly just trust, love, open communication. We pray all the time.
Right.
And he's so understanding, and he's so you got to do it, babe. You've come this far. We're not going to give up now. We're not going to, just walk away from this. We got to see it all the way through. Because there was a time when I was in Sacramento, I was like, I'm so homesick. I don't like it here. Besides going to work and, being on air, like it was just so hard, on the grind of being in a new city and
Right.
not knowing anybody and having to start from basically all over again, networking and building up your contacts.
All
It
over.
was rough. And
Mhm.
people in California, let's be real, they ain't friendly like us Texans. There was a lot of like sassiness, and there was a lot of like a lot of people weren't as friendly as people, are here.
Mhm.
And I was just like, man, these fucking Californians are so rude. I miss that southern hospitality. How you
Oh,
doing?
it's
Good
out the window
morning.
when you
Oh, it's
leave.
out
Yeah.
the window. And
Yeah.
even when my mom first came to visit, um, she was walking up down the hallway in my apartment complex. She was like, "Good morning. How you doing? Good morning." And people were like, "Who the fuck is this?
For
Who are
real.
you? I don't know you. What are you talking to me for?" And I told my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I told you. Nobody ever greets you like that.
Yeah.
You know?"
No, it's true. I lived in LA for like a month, and we're just doing sessions and working in different studios, and that was my first time just like being there that long, because usually it's like 2 3 day visits.
Yeah.
So like being a whole month there, one, the traffic's annoying as fuck.
Oh, so annoying.
But even at that, you're right. Like the environment's so different. The Southern
Mhm.
hospitality is gone
Oh, it's
because
completely gone.
I just felt like I felt like it was pointless to hold a door for anybody at a certain time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, exactly. It was to the point where I was like, "Okay, I'm going first, whatever."
Exactly. Yeah.
It's me.
I'm not holding the
Everybody,
fucking door.
yes,
Fuck that.
yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely. So coming back home and just feeling, the love in the South, like it's true, like Southern, Texas, and the Southern hospitality is really real here. It's really real here, and you don't know it's real until you go somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
and you don't see it or you don't receive it back.
Right. Right.
So my mom was like, "These fucking people are rude," and I'm like, "I told you, Mom."
Welcome to California.
Welcome to California.
Now, was that like a scary transition because you've lived in Dallas all your life, or were you?
So I went to school and lived in LA for a couple of years.
Okay.
But it was completely different because I was like fresh out of high school. I had a few roommates, and it was I knew somebody.
Yeah.
I knew somebody. Moving to Sacramento and not knowing anyone and living completely on my own, it took some for real adulting, like having to figure out like, okay, how do you like really grocery shop? And it was a lot.
Right.
It was a lot to learn and to pick up. And you're taking care of yourself. You're the only one there. There's not somebody there, I don't want to say to baby you, but to kind of remind you to do things.
Right.
So it was just me, and the transition it was a little scary in the very beginning. It was rough to adapt to a new city and to
Mm-hmm.
a new everything. But I'm proud of myself that I actually stuck out and did it, because I'm telling you, like, I was so homesick. I was
Right.
so homesick, where I'm like, I'm not, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go back home, and I'm just gonna just hustle harder. I'm just gonna, work harder, to find a job and this and that. But I stuck through. It was really rough, and I still keep in contact with my boss, and he's my radio mentor. And before I left, I'm like, "Do you remember when I first got here? I was a scary little bitch. Like, I was messing up everything and not knowing, it's just so I was just off balance on just everything,
Right.
from work to being at home and having to make things, come together. The struggle was real. The struggle was absolutely real. And
But
he was
very
like,
necessary.
and he was like, "Well, look at you now." He was like, "You killed it." He was like, "You came out here. I told him, I'm like, I'm coming out here to be a winner. I'm coming out here to win.
Right.
I'm coming out here to learn, to grow, to understand. This is strictly business. Like, I left my man behind. I left my family behind. Like, I'm here to fucking win, and I need to win." So he's like, "Okay, let's put in the work and let's win."
Yeah.
And when I left Sacramento, my show was top 3, and that was amazing because it's, and it's funny because a lot of people knew I was from Texas or from the South because I had that Texas accent.
Right.
And
And you would open doors for people.
you know what I mean? I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Yeah.
How you doing?" And I had to use that, for my advantage. Of course, everybody in California hates the Cowboys, and I'm just like, what
Repping hard as fuck.
Yeah, like people would boo me when we were having to wear a face mask in the stores. I have a Dallas Cowboy mask. People were like, boo, and I'm like, why are they boo me for? And I'm like, oh, I have my Cowboys mask on. So it's that's the whole crazy thing with the real rivalry between California and Texas and all the sports and stuff. But the transition eventually got smoother.
Right.
It got better. I got a little bit more comfortable. And I love Sacramento. It's like a second home to me. I literally was a little sad leaving, but so excited to come home to my men and just to start off, the next chapter of our life together, but also my career.
Yeah. Now, being back in Texas, is it a bummer to know that like the state fair will be closed?
I was just talking to Adrian, and I'm like, boy, I got here in July, and I'm like, yes, we're a couple of months away from the fair. I can't wait to have my Fletcher's corn dog. I can't wait to have my fried cheesecake. And
Right.
these motherfuckers want to, just close the gates on everybody
If
and
if
not
people
open.
outside of Texas don't understand, the Texas State Fair is an important event for all of us because it's
That's
like,
the fall event.
yeah, like Texas, we live for the state fair
Yes.
because the introduction of a lot of shit and the fact that it's just an excuse to
Spend
yeah,
money.
yeah. So, but the thing is too, like I talked about this with Midnight on the last podcast, but more I want to get into how do you feel about the whole drive-through packages and
You know what? It, it I was looking at some of the packages, and I mean, the fair runs through our blood.
yeah,
Period.
right.
You know what I mean? So whatever they decide to do, I was just like, okay, I understand COVID, we're trying to protect people. But the fair's gonna these vendors and these people who come out from all different parts of Texas and beyond, Louisiana, wherever, to come set up their stands, they make millions there. And the fair's only open for what, like 4 weeks, a month or something.
Right.
So these people are missing out on money. I know the fair is going to come through and do something. And this is a long time ago when they just announced they weren't doing anything. So I saw in other states, they were doing the whole drive-through thing where, you would just basically drive through the fair and pick up your food or whatever and go. And I'm just like, I wonder if the fair is going to do this. And I'm like, if they're about their bread and picking up
Yeah.
them coins, they're going to come up with something. So seeing that they did these whole packages and you're still able to go see Big Tex and get some of your favorite fair food, it's cool, but it's not the full experience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Will I buy a package? Yes.
Same.
You know what I mean? Am I going to go to get my yearly pitcher of Big Tex? Absolutely. Do I think some of the packages are overpriced? Absolutely.
But the fair is
But
overpriced.
The
It's
fair is always
expected.
overpriced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you go, you're gonna spend at least $50 to $100.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's being generous.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say that's if you're trying to calm down. But I mean, it's great to see that the fair is still giving us something to look forward to, and see Big Tex and get all the great fair food and stuff. The only thing what I think they should do, or what they should have done, is give us the option to pick our foods. Like, I don't want bottled waters in my packages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna bring my bottle water
$10
from
bottled
home.
waters.
Yes, like, I don't want that shit. Like, take that out. Can I substitute it for like a turkey leg or something? You know what I mean?
It's like the same price.
I mean, like, why? Like, I don't need no water, but I wish they would just give us the option to maybe customize our packages and choose, okay, you know what? I don't want fried Oreo. I want more, corn dogs or something like that. But it's awesome to see that they were creative to come up with this. So I'm excited to see what the experience is going to be like.
I mean, let's keep the fair alive, I guess, right?
Oh,
like,
you
yeah,
have
we got to keep it going.
You have to. I really thought there was going to be a riot at the fair. I thought somebody was going to burn down something, because this is a huge thing for us.
Yeah.
This is like it or not, if you don't, participate on the fair on a yearly base, or if you just go once in the blue moon, this is our Texas culture. This is what we do, to kick off fall, football season and stuff. So it's pretty crazy. COVID has definitely fucked a lot of our lives up.
Oh, definitely.
It's
That's why I was
sad.
saying you came back at a time where you're not even fully experiencing Texas.
No, no. And a lot of my favorite restaurants are closed. I went to La Ventana, brought us tacos. And,
Oh, yes.
La Ventana's a good spot. They should have sponsored these tacos for us.
I got to mention that Vicki came. She showed up with tacos. It is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
We're celebrating. And the thing
Absolutely.
is, with Vicki, when we always had a podcast, it was like you always brought on this theme, or I don't know what it is. Yeah,
And
because
it always revolves around food.
but tacos is one of the main ones. I remember we
Yeah.
talked about cultural appropriation through tacos. We talked about a lot of shit.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
But the beauty about this is that You are somebody. You are one of the only people that I know that had a taco named after you.
Oh man,
And
yeah,
and then
that's
we'll talk about the
crazy.
restaurant right
Yeah,
after
that's
that.
it's crazy.
The Vicki O
The
taco
Vicchio
at
Taco
the
at
name of.
Tacos Mariachi,
There you go.
and that's my spot. Like, and coming back home and seeing that it's closed, and just seeing, one of my favorite spots,
Same.
basically, they were affected. They were affected by COVID, as well as a lot of, other places. Our one of our barbershops we closed it down because of COVID. Things were just really crazy, and it was sad to see how so many businesses were affected by it, but especially my favorite taco restaurant. I'm like, how am I
Yeah.
gonna come home and not even go to my favorite taco restaurant? So shout out to La Ventana for being number two.
It's on display as you see. It's probably cold as shit,
Yeah.
but
Hey, listen, we still get down
yeah,
when we
exactly.
go to a commercial break.
We don't discriminate on any tacos.
No, so it was crazy. Tacos Mariachi isn't my number one just because they named a taco after me, but just you could just taste the love in their food. And
Yeah.
the owner, Jesus Carmona, I mean, he really took time to put together a very authentic Tijuana inspired menu.
Hmm.
And the Vicchio taco was crazy as shit. I'm like, hold
That
on,
taco was
wait.
fire.
I'm
Fire.
like, chorizo with lots of cheese. Yes, please.
Did you curate that taco?
You know what? My only request was to make sure that it had avocado and cheese.
There you
And
go.
Jesus was like, I got the rest. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. So it was a delicious taco, and it was, I'm very blessed and thankful. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, how many people have a taco named after them?
Yeah,
It's
you're one
crazy.
of. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's
It's just
it.
you.
That's it. I mean, it's just me. So the taco was good, and I'm hoping that, Tacos Mariachi will reopen soon, and you can see the Vicchio taco on the menu,
Right.
and just kind of get back to regular life.
Not only that restaurant was featured in Triple D. Guy
Yes.
Fieri.
Yes, Guy Fieri. How do you say his last name?
Fieri.
Fieri.
I think it's a weird. It's a sketchy last name.
You know what I mean? You look at it, I was like, how do you? Okay, we're just gonna call him Guy.
Yeah, he still dresses like a 99, like someone from
For
1999.
real,
Yeah, like
extra
Tony Hawk
blonde
Pro
hair,
Skate. Yeah,
Hawaiian shirt,
very
or like
unique.
button up, very unique.
I feel like you think he still got to like keep that outfit going. Like they
Oh,
tell
you
him, oh,
have
you have to
to.
wear it.
Yeah, no, that's his character. If you were to walk up on Guy in a, let's say, like emo outfit, you wouldn't even, Guy? Who are
But
you?
with the
What
LA looks in, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, would you want to be typecasted that way, or you want not typecasted, but just be that character? Like if
Man,
Vicky O
that's
became a
hard.
character, could you
Yeah.
maintain that throughout your life?
I mean, I think it would maybe make me go crazy at one point, but I mean, that's it's that's who you are. You know what I mean? I hate to say that people just take it to the next level and expect you to always be on.
Right.
You know what I mean? To
Right.
always be on. And there was a few times, I mean, I'm not at that level of
But you're in
fame and
radio.
fortune. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, absolutely. And it's funny because people would be like, "Hey, do your radio voice." And I'm like, "Hi, this is it. This is, what it is." And
That shit's so gross.
know?
I hate that too. It's like going up to a comedian, like tell a joke, or going up to a
Yeah,
rapper, hey,
and
hey,
it's kind
rap.
of awkward. It's kind of awkward. There's
Yeah.
so many times where I just wanted to just like cuss out motherfuckers and just go off, but you really can't. You know what I mean? That's your listener. That's somebody who listens to your show,
Yeah.
and there's a level of respect. So I would always do something goofy like, "Hey, this is the radio boys. How you doing? Welcome to the Vicki O show.
Want me
Here
to
we
keep
are.
going?"
Yeah, I have Selena Gomez coming up in 5 minutes. So it's like, okay, you want me to do a radio voice? I'm gonna do something hella extra, and they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "What do you think? Like, this is I'm talking to you. This is how I talk on the radio. So that radio voice."
Lady,
People
you're
just
scaring us.
Yeah.
They run away.
People just think radio personalities just talk like this all the time.
Like they're Ryan Seacrest. Like he's got to be the
Oh
same
my
character all the
gosh.
time.
Oh
wouldn't
my
he?
gosh, all the time. Even like on American Idol, when you watch him, it's just like, okay, Ryan is on, and his TV morning show with Kelly Ripa, like that's it. So I just try to stay authentic and humble as much as I can. And when people come up to me and say that, I'm like, I'm just thankful that you're listening to the show and you know who I am, and I'm putting a smile on your face, playing your favorite song or helping you get through your work day, whatever it is, it's that level of connection that I appreciate. So, if you want me to talk like this and, give you that, what you think radio personalities sound like, then, I'll do it to put a smile on your face or some shit.
How you like involved in that world, and how hard is it to avoid like that corporate jizzing? Like
Oh my
they're all trying to
gosh.
implement their ideas
Oh,
and
it's so hard. And it's so funny. I think that's what kept me back from finding a I don't want to say a real job, but I was part-time in radio for many years
yeah,
and doing full-time hours and doing every single job job whatever. Vicky, go get his coffee done. What do y'all want? Vicky, can you produce and edit and do this? Okay, no problem.
yeah,
Hey, Vicky, can you fill in, for whoever because they can't make it in today? Okay, yeah, no problem. I was doing everything. I was always that yes girl. And I never really stood up for myself in the sense where it was like, hey, when is it going to be my turn?
yeah,
When is it going to be my time to shine? When am I going to be able to do this? It took me many years to finally just like speak up for myself and be like, you know what? No.
yeah.
Like I'm not doing it. You can find somebody else to do it. And radio is very corporate. Radio is very 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 corporate. And it was really hard and like still to this day like I feel like I fully don't understand the politics of it because
Right.
there's a lot of fuckery in it. There's a lot of fuckery in it.
I have
And I saw so
you
much of it and I was involved in it and there's so many stories I could tell but I won't because there's I'm looking
after
for
this.
yeah, stay tuned for the after podcast. But there was a lot of moments of my career where I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like this is happening and this is the way business is being conducted and somebody needs to get fired, somebody needs to get suspended or whatever and it's just rolled off into another day.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, like it's a crazy industry. You literally have to have the thickest skin and have like big ass balls to deal with all of the shit that you're thrown. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I have two things against me: being a woman and being Latina. You don't see a lot of minority women in radio. And it was crazy because I was just like, I'm going to prove who I am. I'm going to prove that I have the talent. I'm going to prove that I have the hard work and the hustle to get through it and get somebody to pay attention to me and see, that I'm the next radio star.
Right.
And it had to take me leaving Dallas and Texas and moving to the West Coast, for that to happen.
Right. The sacrifices it takes to
Oh, absolutely.
achieve your goals. You could lose
Oh,
almost everything.
everything. But I knew I was ready for it. I knew
Right.
this is it. Like there's no plan B for me. You know what I mean? Like there's no plan B at all. Like I live and breathe this shit.
Exactly.
Like I wake up thinking, okay, who do I got to contact? Who do I got to hit up? If they're not going to email me back, I'm going to DM them. If they're not going to DM me back, I'm going to hit them up on Twitter. I'm going to look for them on LinkedIn. The struggle and the hustle is absolutely 100% real.
And it's, every field is not meant for everyone. I think
No.
at a time, just because I was like, I like doing podcasts. Could I do radio? And I remember talking to you and also Jay Cruz.
Yeah.
And Jay Cruz, I didn't know him that well at the time.
Yep.
I just got off from doing music, and I was like, I don't know what else like I want to
Sure.
be on the air. I want people to hear me. So
Sure.
what can I do? So I actually just text him
Mm-hmm.
because I had his number through a mutual friend,
Mm-hmm.
and he called me. I never even had a conversation with him, and he told me how much grunt work is involved just to
So
make it on. Yeah, like
much.
the stuff even you told me.
Oh
It's
my
like you're like part
gosh.
of the street team first, handing out
Yes.
flyers, and
Yes.
yeah, like how long was that before you even got on a microphone?
So my radio career started actually at KNON radio station, and I was working there for free. I'm talking about hella free, no type of money coming to my pocket, and sometimes money going to them to
Wow.
see what I wanted to do because I didn't go to school for radio. I didn't go to school for broadcasting. I went to school for makeup and for skincare and to be an esthetician. And I remember walking into KNON and I was just like, whoa, like just totally blown away from all the DJs
Yeah.
and, all the equipment and all the production stuff. And I was like, shit, this is so freaking cool. Radio line or the phone lines were blowing up and, people were taking requests. Like it was so awesome. I was just like, I want this shit. This is what I want to do for a living. This is what I want to do right here. So it started off there. And once
Mhm.
I figured out what I wanted to do and see, what field of radio in the industry I wanted to work in, I knew automatically I want to be behind the mic. I want to be the host of the show. So from there, I started sending in my my bullshit resume that literally only had like one piece of experience on it. But I knew I was like, I'm gonna have to meet these people in person and sell them on my personality.
Exactly.
And I I sent my resume to like every single station in Dallas, and nobody hit me up. And I was just like, what? Like, I'm amazing. I have a great personality. Like, I can bring so much to the table. Like, why is it nobody hitting me up? And I'm like, it has to be because I have no experience. So I continued to work at KNON. I was there for maybe like about a year and a half, 2 years, and finally, out of the random blue, I got an email, and it looks so like a spammy, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I want to open this because this doesn't look so
This is
legit.
a South
You
African
know what I
prince that
mean?
needs.
Yes. Give me your routing number. I'll put
Yeah.
$10 million in your bank account, type of thing.
Sounds
So
legit.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'll click here.
Yeah.
And it was basically a audition to go into the radio station and to apply to be on the street team. And I was
Oh.
like, street team? The hell is a street team? What does one do on the street team? So I remember I went to a K104 event, and I was, just kind of being nosy, just sticking around and just seeing, okay, so like street team is basically like promoters.
Right.
And I'm like, cool, I could do that. Well, little did I know this casting call is what they were calling it, a cattle call, had like 50 people in it, and these were college students that just graduated from like SMU with their media and broadcasting and journalism. And I remember there was somebody from like Oklahoma University. Like, these kids were coming in with like degrees, and they were like, "What school did you graduate from?" And I'm like, "Oh no, the streets taught me, baby girl. I'm
Self-taught,
here,
baby.
yeah, I'm right here to get this job. This is what I'm going to do." And they're like, "Well, we're only hiring 3 people." So
Out of like 50
there was like
plus.
50 people, and it was just, kids from everywhere, college students from everywhere. And I was one of them. I remember I was one of them, and they made us do the most stupidest fucking games ever. It's like, describe yourself through an animal. If you were stuck on an island, what type of animal would you be to survive? And I'm like, what is going on here? What does that have to do with anything about
Who's
this job?
initiating you
You know what I
guys?
mean? Like, what is all of this? So I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll play your game. What's one song that you could what's one song that describes you? And I remember I said at the time it was like Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne and Drake's song that was just like blowing up, and I was like, yeah, this is me. So I thought it was horrible. I'm like, oh, these kids, they clearly have more experience. They know already how to use everything or whatever, whatever. I'm not gonna get the job. And they didn't contact me for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was telling Manny, my husband, I'm just like, that's it. Like, I'm just gonna go back to Kane to win and just hope I get my own show. And he's like, take it easy. Maybe they're still going through. That's a lot of people. Maybe they'll contact you, this and that. And sure enough, they did. The guy called me up and was just like, hey, sorry it's taking so long. We had so many applications to go through, but we want to move forward to hiring you. And this was I-93 back in the day. And I'm like, yes, I'm there. When can I come by to fill out the application? I'm ready to work. Let's get to work. And I got there, and it was literally, he told me, he was like, well, what do you want to do here? He was like, are you just here just to, collect a check, or, you try to make a career out of this? And I'm like, no, I want this to be the rest of my life. Like, I want to be on air. I want to, talk to celebrities and, play people's favorite songs or whatever. And he was like, it's going to take a lot of work. And he was like, and, most likely, you're going to be probably pulling in like, 50 hours a week. And I'm like,
Shit.
okay, that's cool. I'm down for it. And the pay's only $7.25 an hour. And I'm like, wait, what? $7.25 an hour? And he's like, yeah. $7.25 an hour. I was working $7.25 an hour for like, I don't even know how many years. So it was cool. The experience was great. I was learning, but I was more not talking, but more watching and
Right.
and observing. Like, okay, who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to get to teach me things?
It's
Because it's these personalities and these jocks. A lot of them went to school for radio, and they're veterans and been working in the industry for what, 15, 10 years. At the time, my mentor was just new to Dallas, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna need somebody to tell him the cool spots
right.
and how to pronounce certain things, because he was saying like Waxahachie, and I'm like, no, 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 no. We don't say Waxahachie, it's Waxahachie. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Get it
ended
right.
up yeah, get it right. Don't be messing up on these towns, these little cities. So I remembered I asked him, like, hey, if you need anybody to help you in the studio, I can blog and run social media and this and that. And he was just like, oh, okay. So I started doing that. And from there, he taught me so much. He literally took me under his wing. Shout out to Adam Baum. And showed me how to use Adobe and how to run the boards and how to, check your mic volumes and everything you could possibly think of that you want to learn in radio. He taught me it. And
Wow.
he went to school for radio. He is from Atlanta, went to school, whatever, came to Dallas for a great opportunity. And I literally was just watching him. I would watch him and just take notes and just copy. I don't want to say copy his style, but you only have 7 seconds, maybe 10 seconds to talk on the radio, if
Right.
that. And he was just nailing everything, had great ratings. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I want this. So he slowly started preparing me for my own show. And later, I eventually got there. So I want to say, like, seriously, it was like 7 years in the making
Shit.
before I got my first full-time radio gig.
And I guess you treated that more as a paid internship at the beginning,
Oh,
right? Yeah. Like
absolutely.
you're
It
just
was,
learning.
yeah, I was doing everything. Anything I can learn to do, I was doing it. Well, as as we started growing together, our relationship and our mentor or his mentorship, the station flipped. So for people who are like, what is flipped? So it's basically when they take a existing station and they basically flip it to a new name,
New
to
genre.
a new genre, new music, all of that. So they normally let the people go, the old station, because you want a whole brand new identity. And so they let him go. And I'm just like, what am I going to do now? Like, we were, he was teaching me, he was showing me. So again, it was a whole brand new group of people coming in from all different states and stuff and different cities, didn't know anything about Dallas. So I had to use that again, like, hey, I'm here to help. Let me help with some social media. Let me help you, get familiar with the city. So I ended up building a great relationship with my girl Zan, chilling with Zan. What's up, boo? And she eventually became one of my very, very good friends. And she was another great mentor. And she was a woman who was just killing it in radio.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught me a lot of the politics of radio. And that's when I started learning a whole nother side of things. There was a difference to learning the equipment, learning how to sound, learning how to blog and things like that, but it was learning the way management worked and how corporate worked
Right.
and how to win them over and how to have some type of peace between oh, I want this but you want that, how can we make it work, type of thing. And she taught me so much, and I saw some dirty stuff.
Yeah.
I saw some really, fucked up things, learning the politics of radio, and still, to this day, it's crazy. It's so crazy. So
I
many
think every
people,
business, yeah,
yeah,
is,
every
yeah.
business has, the fuckery behind it. And,
Look
in
at
the
Adrian.
entertainment,
No, you're right.
it's the entertainment industry. And, and it's funny because like I saw so much, and I got passed up for so many opportunities, and got passed up for so many amazing offers and interviews and things like that. And my mom's like, and I would go home crying. I would always, like, I'm such a big baby. I'm a Cancer, so I'm very emotional. So I'm gonna
Same.
fucking cry in my car. I'm gonna cry in my car by myself. And my mom would be like, why do you still want to do this? Like, they're treating you like shit and you're not getting what you want and you're working so hard. Why are you still doing this? And I was like, because I love what I do. I understand this is all the BS that comes along with, my job title
Right.
and what's going on with it. And it was it took a lot for me to leave Dallas, and took a lot for me to leave, the station that, I I basically helped grow and launched. And I literally told my boss, like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm going to another station. He's like, what, really? Like, for real? I don't think you're ready. And I'm like, oh, you don't think I'm ready? Let me show you what I can do. Let me show you who I am and what you missed out on for your station. Because I'm going to go to another station and I'm going to fucking kill it. And I'm going to be a rock star. And you're going to wish that you kept me on.
And I got a taco named after me,
You know what I
motherfucker.
mean? And it was crazy because I was working so hard to impress my boss.
Yeah.
Every time, oh, you don't have enough experience, or you need to work a little bit harder, or you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm like, okay. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove to you, and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to show you I'm that bitch.
Yeah, and
I'm going to make it
that's
work.
not even a bad attitude to have when you're trying to make it.
No.
Like that, I'll show you is really good fuel to have.
Oh, the
Yeah,
fuel was real. Oh
yeah,
my gosh, because it was me networking by myself and getting people to, to hire me on to do interviews or to have me at press junkets or, I remember one of my last interviews in Dallas before I left to Sacramento. I chatted with Kelly Preston and John Travolta. RIP to Kelly Preston. She recently passed away of breast cancer, which was really sad because she was one of the best celebrities and just humble people I've ever met. And she literally told me, she was like, never stop working. She was like, the mic is always on. And
yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you. And John Travolta, he was pretty cool too. Nah, he was cool. He was
He's
cool.
alright.
He was super cool.
Whatever.
But I remember getting that opportunity and like, wait, you guys want me to come out? Like little old me? Like I'm just, doing weekends and I have a part-time shift and I was looking at it like, you know, kind of like I wasn't worthy for it because of my on-air status. Normally with those type of interviews, you give them to like morning shows or like afternoon shows or like, bigger day parts because you're supposed to air the interview. That's why they
Yeah,
bring you out. So when they had me do it, I took a step back and I'm like, whoa, 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 nah. Oh my gosh, are you sure? It's like, hell yeah. Like you
exactly.
absolutely right. Like I am the right person for this job. And it was more of a fear and more of just the confidence
Yes.
in me that I felt like I didn't have because I had some fuckboy boss telling me that I wasn't good enough or that I wasn't ready for, these type of opportunities. So I'm like, I'm going to prove to you that I am ready and that I can do it and this is what I can do. And for the longest time I had that attitude like, okay, I'm going to do this because I need to prove myself. And it took it, and at the end of the day it was like you could prove yourself so much, but it's within yourself and within your confidence and within your hustle that you don't need to prove shit to
Right.
people. You know what I mean? And that was my biggest thing was like I was waiting to make him happy or to do something to impress him to make it seem like I'm ready for something bigger and
Right.
better than just doing a weekend shift. Because like I said, like I'm not giving up. Like it's either I'm going to do it here or I'm going to do it somewhere else.
Right. Now
So
with the odds against you, I see you very big on women empowerment,
yes,
and you did mention, of course, being Latina.
yeah.
Um, in radio and in entertainment industry, period. How do you feel? Has there been more progression, and if so, is it climbing fast, slow? Where do you think it sits
Absolutely.
right now?
I've honestly, it's funny that you mentioned this. I've seen so many of my radio friends who are women who are now being moved into director positions and management positions, and that's huge.
Yeah.
That's so huge because when I first started my career back in 2010, I never I never saw any women in director positions like that. And to see this happening, I have a friend who just got a job overseeing like programming and picking the music and deciding what's going to be on Spotify. And I'm just like, damn girl, like you did it. Like you're paving the way for other women to get positions like this. And it's about fucking time.
Yeah.
It's about time. Like it sucks that it's taken so long to see more women get these bigger positions on in the industry instead of just being like the sidekick and the co-host.
Right.
I mean, look at Dee Dee. Dee Dee has a
Mm-hmm.
very successful radio show in Dallas, and she's just killing it with Lady Jade and just doing so much and representing for not just women, period, but minorities in the industry and just in our city. So it's great to see how things are moving faster on that end. I hope that the industry continues to lean more towards women, towards minorities, towards people who need that opportunity and
Right.
need a chance and we could see some more involving on that level.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things I have noticed, like in the climate itself, that minorities are given a chance. Women are being given more chances, and especially in
Absolutely.
entertainment. And I know a lot of shit had to happen for this to occur.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's not pretty shit,
Sure.
you know.
Another one of my mentors in Sacramento, Sonia. Hey, Sonia, because I know you're going to listen to this podcast. She was over music. So the music director is normally the person who picks and decides the music for the stations. She was a woman and she was also Latina. And I was just like, I want to learn everything from you. I want to, just be your shadow on things. It was great, and she worked in several different markets from San Antonio to New York. And it took her a lot to get to that position. And, when you have a position like that, you hold on to it.
Right.
You hold on to it and you grow with that position. So it was awesome to see that, because I'm just like, well, I've never seen a music director, that's a female and a Latina on top of that. This is crazy. So I don't know if it's because Sacramento is a smaller radio market than Dallas, but it was pretty awesome to see that. I was just like, wow, there is hope,
Yeah.
there is hope somewhere.
What is your goals being back in Texas now? What are you planning to do as far as are you still currently in radio, or are you?
So I don't have a radio job at the moment, but my
Mhm.
goal is to work for Kiss FM. I'm
Oh.
putting it out there. Kiss FM is a station I grew up with. Kid Craddock is, one of the people who, I don't want to say inspired me to be in radio, but he made it look so much fun. He made it look like it was just a easy day at work, and he was, one of the top people or top radio personalities,
Yeah.
and still is. I mean, he passed away so many years ago, and the show is still,
Named
number
after him.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Dallas.
It still
So
has his name, right? Kid
it's
Craddock
still, yeah,
Morning
it's
Show.
still part
Yeah.
of Kid Craddock's morning show. It's still, he still has the name, and
Mhm.
it's I'm putting it out there in the universe that I
Yeah,
am
it's
gonna
out
work
there.
that I am gonna work for Kiss FM. So I'm hoping once this pandemic and this COVID, chills out, the industry is on a freeze right now.
Yeah.
So I've came too far to give up. I've came too far. I've sacrificed so much just to give up and just settle for less, and I refuse to settle for less.
Good. That's very inspiring to a lot of
Yeah.
people listening, because people need that pep. Like
Oh,
they need to hear
absolutely.
that.
Oh, you have, like, when I came back to Dallas, I was just like, okay, what's next? What's going on? Who am I going to talk to? How am I going to get my foot back in the door? And everything is just on a freeze right now. I'm like, I was like, I need to take this time to build my relationship, or I don't want to say build my relationship, because our relationship, is good.
Mhm.
But with my husband, we were long distance for 2 years, and just taking this time to really just enjoy being a wife and enjoy being a partner, and to be there for him, and to help him out with whatever business ventures he has coming up. And he has a lot of different projects that, we're both going to be working on together, which I'm really excited for. But yeah, radio is definitely always in the picture.
Good.
If it's, just co-hosting, a podcast, or being a special guest, or, whatever, being behind the mic is where I know I'm destined to be. And, like I said, like, too much, I cry too much. I cry too much, and I'm not walking away from it. I'm not settling for less. It's a tough industry, and I know we're just on a little low right now, but I
Mhm.
know something big is going to come up next for me.
Oh, I feel it. I feel
Hmm.
it. Definitely. I mean, your aura when you walk in the room, I know when you're here. Like yeah, yeah,
Hey,
exactly. So, I'm very happy for you. I'm glad to see that you're
thank
still
you.
pursuing what you've been going after, and
Yeah.
how much you've reached in a I mean, 7 years is some time.
7 years is a lot of time, and there were so many times when I wanted to walk away, and just thought, is it ever going to happen for me? Am I destined to be in this? Is all this hard work going to pay off for, my own primetime show? Is it going to happen? I'm getting paid pennies and taking so much shit, and you know and people would always say, when it's your time, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen good.
Right.
Keep working, keep hustling, and it will happen. And I'm like, well, when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? When it happened, it was really good. It
Yeah.
was it was worth every single tear, every single coffee run, every single, skipping over me for an opportunity. And I'm like, if I would have got all those opportunities, would I be here? I mean, I feel so blessed and lucky to be able to do radio in a different city, in a different state, and be successful at it.
Mhm.
And for somebody who, I come from East Dallas, so it's not like
You gotta say, "Eat dale."
a it's not like I went to college and got the education. It took a lot of time and hustle to get to where I'm at. And I always tell people, the grind is worth it. If you really love your job and if you're really passionate about what you do, you know, you just it's going to be your time eventually. It's going to be your
A
time
hundred percent.
eventually,
A hundred percent. Like,
God is always in charge. He's putting you through all of this to build you up for what's bigger and better and what's coming up next for you.
I don't want to be that guy because okay, I get told this, and might sound negative to some people still. Is like some lady had told me because one, she was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Well, I do music, I songwrite, I do digital marketing, I do
Yeah.
e-commerce work."
Yep.
And she's like, "Did you go to school?" I was like, "No." She's like, "You know what? You should go to school." And at my age right now, and what I feel like, there's a lot of time these days right now. You can be self-taught.
Oh,
A lot of
absolutely.
trades.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the idea of going to school now, it almost sounds like, to me, it sounds negative because I feel like, why would I waste 2 years, 3 years in a trade school or something when I could literally just jump in and start doing the shit?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And I never want to deny education. You know what I mean?
of course not.
I think education is great. And education is very important, but being self-taught is a whole nother realm of
Right.
things. You know what I mean? Because it's you taking the time to teach yourself. It's you taking the time to research and to learn and to, call somebody up and, work with them or whatever to learn off of them. But hell yeah, shit, self-taught.
Yeah, there's a lot of careers that one can afford some trial and error. You
Yes,
you
like
can't just be a
don't be.
doctor.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, a brain
If
surgeon
you
or
want to be a
something.
doctor, go to school.
Right, right,
Don't go be doing
exactly.
some your own, surgeries and stuff in your basement
But
and
some
stuff.
people still have that mindset where
Oh, of
it's like, oh,
course.
like nothing's going on for me right now. I need to go to school and learn
Yeah,
something. It's
nah.
like, no, dude, like get a Skillshare account, go on
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
learn some shit, and just
Absolutely.
jump in. Jump
Sure.
in. I feel like that's the best way I learned music. I didn't go to school for that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you learn trial and error on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I love about being self taught is that I think it's truly important to be able to pass it on. So if there's somebody else who wants to learn, e commerce and learn how to do digital marketing and things like that, for you to pay it forward to teach
Exactly.
them and to show them to keep the momentum going and to
Yes.
keep that self taught, free learning type of thing. Because school can be expensive.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know how many friends of mine that went to prestigious universities and got these great degrees and didn't do shit with them.
And just have debt
You know
now.
what I mean? Just
Yeah.
have thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever how much it costs to go to school, and you're not even. It's like, okay, well, why'd you pay all that money? Why did you go to school? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, education is super important, but when you're self-taught and you have that charisma, that passion, and that time to learn it, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, especially if the trade, like you said, if you can afford some trial and error in there,
Absolutely.
you should just go for it.
Yeah.
Jump for that shit because the idea to me is just, I don't want to waste my 2 years in that. I could be putting it
No.
into learning.
Absolutely.
You were doing grunt work basically for
Yes.
radio before you
Yes.
got there. If you didn't have that, was it maybe about 5 years, 4 years?
And it's funny because I was looking into going to radio school and I'm like, ooh, $10,000, and they don't,
It's a hustle.
it's a hustle, but at the same time too, it's just like, okay, they're just teaching you to, use Adobe production, put together like, show preps and things like that. And show preps is basically where you just basically research, what you're going to talk about during your show and talk about, the latest headlines or whatever. And I'm like, I can learn a lot of this off of YouTube.
Mhm.
I can learn a lot of this, once I get my foot in the door at a radio station and just listen and watch. And that's what I was. I was just like a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to soak up so much knowledge and just so much free learning as I can, because not everybody can afford a fancy school.
Nope. And shout out to the amazing mentors out there that are just
Yes.
helping people.
Oh, absolutely.
Paying it forward, like you said, is so
Yes.
important. You
It's
learn
so
something,
important.
pass that trade off because, like you said, it's part of the game. The game should be free.
course.
It's what you do with that knowledge.
Absolutely.
So for me to know what I know, I have no problem anybody sitting next to me if they want me to, they want to shadow me or shadow them, or
yeah.
I'm open to the ideas.
Same.
Yeah, because like I said, I know how it is. I know how hard it is. You don't know where to start. And sometimes you just want somebody relatable just like you that
Of
can, yeah,
course.
we
Of
went through it,
course.
you know? We
Of
struggled
course.
first, then got there.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny because I've had a few, um, e- I've had a few people who are like interns in the industry, and starting off at radio stations. They'll send me their air checks, or ask for my advice and stuff, and I'm just like, oh shit, like I'm finally able. I'm finally able to the point in my career where I can finally do that and pass on, I don't want to say my secrets, but my tidbits on just how to get through the industry and how to get through, whatever situation you're in at your station, or in, deciding on what to do or what's next in your career, because I went through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, and it was, I'm telling you, like, there's so much shit that I went through in this industry that just helped me become a stronger person, not just even as a personality, but just a stronger person. You just understand, it's not a nice place, and not every single station is the same. Not every single boss is the same. Not every single coworker is the same. It may be toxic here, but it could be Disneyland at a whole nother station.
Right.
So being able to work in a few different markets, and I don't want to say comparing, but seeing the difference on what type of leadership are at these stations and how important leadership is, for the whole station. It's crazy. It's so
Yeah.
crazy. I'm truly blessed to be able to sit here and to talk about my experiences in the industry for all these years.
100%. It's
Mhm.
crazy when I sit with somebody in the world of radio, because at one point it's something I thought I wanted to do,
Sure.
but it takes a lot of discipline, and I don't know how you guys avoid cussing on air.
Oh, you have no idea how many times.
Yeah.
See, being on a podcast, you're able to, you have a freedom of speech kind
Yeah,
of way.
this is
You
my
can say,
world here, yeah, because I
you
ain't
know,
shit.
you know,
But,
shut up.
but like it takes so much discipline to do what you
And
do.
people, it's so funny because I have such a dirty mouth. I like, what is it? I cuss like a sailor. Is that what the saying
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Okay, I cuss like a sailor. Like, it's to the point where sometimes my man is like, "Baby, chill. Like, why are you talking like that?" And I'm like, "What the fuck you talking about?"
Fuck you mean?
Yeah. I just cuss a lot.
Yeah.
I cuss a lot, and it's something that I'm not proud of. But I mean, it just happens. I just, it just goes with the flow, and I do. I have a dirty mouth. So, and it's so funny because one of my mentors was like, "I never realized how much you cussed," and I'm like, "Yeah, and like what?" You got to be very careful, because once you go on the mic and you're live,
Yeah.
you had to be really careful with not dropping the F bomb, not dropping the B bomb. And I remember one time I almost called Drake a fuckboy.
Oh.
And right when I was like, I just literally was like, oh, like my brain was like, hit the mic button and turn it off. Turn it off.
Fudge cake.
Yes. And I was like, Drake is such a here's Drake right now. And just went into the song, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Straight into my face.
I'm like, I cannot believe I almost cussed right now. And my boss came into the studio, was like, what happened? And I'm like,
Wow.
I almost cussed. And he was like, what were you gonna say? And I was like, fuck boy. And he was like, oh my gosh, good thing you turned off your mic. You know how much trouble you would get into. You would get fined. And I'm like, how much? And he was
What is
like,
this fine like?
he said one personality that he worked with said fuck you during morning show drive, which is a morning show AM,
Mhm.
when you're driving into work, you're listening to your favorite station. That's morning show drive. $15,000.
Holy shit.
$15,000 is
That's a cash car.
how much he got fined. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So it took me a very, 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 very long time to
Adjust.
and just to be really careful on the words that I say,
Yeah.
and just take advantage of the times where I weren't, when I wasn't on the air, and be able to be like, bitch, shit.
No, that's great. But we've already reached to the hour point.
Dang,
Yeah,
already?
I think you need to get going soon, but I just want to say thank you, and thank you for being inspiration to a lot of these women out here. Like, there's women listening to this podcast right now,
I hope so.
gonna pursue their dreams just because of what you said.
Listen, the struggle is, it's not even just for women. I just think right now for people, period, just to keep the hope alive.
Yeah.
And just to stay positive. And I keep, and I tell myself this every day, you a bad bitch. Anybody.
I say the same
who-
thing about
you know what
myself.
I mean? Yeah. I can already hear your voice in your head too.
You're such
I'm
a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really just have to give yourself daily affirmations on
Right.
how amazing you are and how lucky you are to be able to do whatever type of job that you're doing, because there's somebody out there who has nothing.
Right.
Who has nothing and wishing and hoping, and it's the littlest things. If you're working at McDonald's, put 100% into working into McDonald's. If you're selling cars, put 100% into selling cars.
There
If
you
you're doing a
go.
podcast, put 100% into your podcast. Something bigger and better is always going to come.
It pays off. It pays off.
It pays
Going
off.
in and whatever you're doing at the moment. Just understand, if you have bigger goals, then all that is temporary.
Yep, absolutely.
But just show gratitude for what you have every day. That
Yes,
opportunity to
yes.
get up, having all your limbs. Thank God.
Yes.
And go forward to everything that thank whoever you believe in, first of all.
For
But
real,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like just chase after your dreams and be grateful for what you got in front of you. And
Absolutely.
put that phone away just for a little bit in
Just
the
for
morning.
a little bit.
Yeah, I fuck up sometimes, but
Oh,
I
same.
do my best to, like, an hour when I wake up.
Yep.
Just say at least 5 things that I'm grateful for over and
Yes.
over and
You
over.
have to.
Yeah, I
And
don't even
you-
look at my phone.
And if you've never met AZ, he's such a positive. He has such a positive spirit around him, and is so, his aura, you could just tell, just creative, positive, and I'm so happy to see coming back home that you're still doing you and doing amazing, and your podcast and everything else around. You're a hustler. You're a
Yeah.
hustler. Period. You're a hustler.
It's the sad clown syndrome.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. You're right.
Yeah.
I just remain that way because I feel like if I pass it off, it'll continue.
Sure.
I'm being a mentor in good energy.
You
That's
are,
what it is.
and
Yeah.
thank you for having me on again.
No,
we
I
always have a
really,
good time.
I really
We always have a
appreciate
good
it.
time.
You're gonna come back. You have to.
Oh,
So
always,
and
always.
why don't you have a podcast of your own?
You know what? I feel like being on air for 6 hours and then doing something afterwards.
Yeah.
It's my job was very draining. Putting on a show and putting all my energy and spirit into it.
Mhm.
There's so many times when I got off of work where I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to hear anything. I just literally wanted to be in silence and just by myself.
No, that makes sense. That's a dumbass question. That's like me saying, like, don't you want to work some more?
Yeah,
Like, do
no,
the same thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. But now that I have so much free time on my hands, it could be one of my next projects. I'm one of those people where my notes are always full of ideas of what I want to do, and it's the matter of just putting it to work and seeing what I can do, and just put more creativity and not procrastinate on this list.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm a talker.
Nah, but
We've been talking for a little over an hour.
it didn't feel
maybe.
like it though.
Yeah, and I have so many stories to share. So, and
Oh, you
a
gotta be back.
podcast,
You gotta be
yeah,
back.
a podcast is definitely a great suggestion.
Yeah. Or just let me know. If you ever need a guest.
Yes,
You
let
know,
me know
I'll
if
be
you
there.
ever need another guest.
Oh,
I'm here.
you're
and
coming back.
and I'll,
You're
and I'll
coming
bring
back.
tacos. I'll bring
Awesome.
tacos, and I'll make sure that they're gluten free for Adrian.
Pussy. No, but alrighty. So, guys, thank y'all for listening. Vicki O, any closing statements? Anything you want to say?
Thank you so much. Like, you have no idea, to be able to give people a platform to speak their mind and to share their stories and to inspire, or just to even just spill the tea a little bit. This was very therapeutic, and I
Awesome.
appreciate you for bringing me on, and just to remind people, never stop praying, never stop hustling, and just repeat, repeat, pray, hustle, repeat.
Awesome. There we go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.